Hello and welcome to 50 Fabulous Knits. My name is Pia. I am a Danish knitter coming to you from my old farmhouse just outside of Copenhagen, where I live with my husband Peter, my best friend Anne, and my youngest son and his family. If you're a new viewer, welcome! I'm so happy you decided to check out this channel. I really hope you will enjoy the content here. At the end of the episode, I am going to talk a little bit about life in general, but this is mainly a podcast about yarn and knitting. And if you're a returning viewer, you already know this. So I'm just going to say thank you so much for coming back to knit with me. I am so happy to see you again. So today I am wearing my Ranunculus, my second edition of the Ranunculus. I knit this one sometime last summer, but I was inspired to knit it again because I created a new colorway and I wanted to see how it would knit up. Actually, it wasn't really me who created the colorway. It was my granddaughter who had some fun in the dye pot. She really likes that. And she came up with this beautiful color, a light turquoisey, bluish color with lots of speckles. And of course, I wanted to see how it would knit up. And the Ranunculus came to mind. I have seen many people knit a Ranunculus just using one strand of silk mohair, but I don't know that I would get so much wear out of a top that was knit in such an open gauge. So I decided to hold the silk mohair together with a strand of the white Drops brushed alpaca silk to create this lovely, soft and beautiful fabric. I'm just gonna stand up so you can see it. And yes, here it is, my second Ranunculus. As you can see, it hits me just below my natural waist. I mean, the waist is where my belt is, and it hits me just below that point. I think this length is perfect to pair with, like today, a summer dress, or with high-waisted skirts or shorts or even jeans. I am sure I'm gonna get a lot of wear out of this over the summer. Obviously, the mohair makes it pretty warm, but there will be days for sure where this is appropriate attire. I'm gonna get up close. I know that everyone knows the Ranunculus, but just to let you appreciate the beautiful details of this yoke, it is so much fun to knit, and it's a super quick knit. And again, one skein of mohair is actually all you need. I have just chosen to hold it together with a strand of brushed alpaca silk to get this. It's not really see-through, but still kind of, but a little more covering than if I had only used the silk mohair. The pattern, of course, is from the super talented Midori Hiroshi, and I will link to the pattern on Ravelry in my show notes in the description box below. So this week I have a couple of finished objects to share with you. I've had a reasonable amount of knitting time, and I spend it wisely, if I do say so myself. So I finished my shawl, and it's huge, and there is no way I'm going to be able to show you everything here. If I find time to take some photos later this afternoon, I will insert one or two of them, just so you can appreciate the beautiful fade here. It fades actually quite dramatically, but it's so subtle you cannot even see where the change happens. This is exactly how I wanted it to be. I wanted to create a shawl that was super long so that I could either wrap it around my neck twice or just drape it loosely once around the neck and have like a long dramatic tail hanging down. I didn't want it to be too deep because I didn't want a whole lot of fabric on my chest. And I wanted the material to be super light and drapey so that it would be suitable for those summer nights where you just want a little something around your neck, but you don't want to be like bundled up in wool. And I think I nailed it. Sorry for the immodesty, but I'm really pleased with this shawl. Part of the drape is, of course, the beautiful yarn that I'm going to talk more about later. But it's also because I've created it with panels of garter stitch and then panels of some lace pattern. Of course, the lace adds to the drape of the fabric, and it's super simple lace. There's no problems knitting it. And here I placed 2 tassels just because they were so cute. I've been wanting to create a fading shawl for a long time, but I couldn't find a fade that I really liked. I'm not, for my own wardrobe, a fan of the fades that are very dramatic, that where you really see the change in color. I prefer to be more subtle. I find that more wearable for me personally. And you would say the reasonable solution would, of course, be to dye up the fade. But I can't. I'm not like a hand dyer. I just dye yarn, but I'm nowhere as good as being able to create a fade like this one. So I contacted one of the Danish hand dyers. It's 2 super talented young women, Birk Bao. And they do ship internationally, so I am going to link to the yarn in the show notes. I contacted them and asked them to come up with a beautiful fade for me. And Birk made this one. That then turned into this one. I used almost all of the yarn. I have like little nuggets of yarn left, but most of the 400 grams just went into this luxurious, super nice shawl that I cannot wait to wear. I will write up the pattern at some point, but of course I will, because it's so easy. It's such an easy and relaxing knit. One of those that you really want to have for summer, where you just want to be able to sit and enjoy what's going on around you while still keeping your hands busy. Another finished object is a pair of socks. They're from my husband, for Peter, and he has, well, huge feet, like ginormous. He's a tall guy. We don't want him falling over. So, of course, I didn't have sock blockers in his size, but I just cut some cardboard to be able to show these socks to you. I have been wanting to make the perfect sock for him for a while, because standard sock patterns just don't fit his foot very well. So I experimented and I knit and I ripped back and I tried it on him and I measured and I knit and ripped back, and finally I have it, the sock that fits my husband. So I'm starting with 68 stitches up here for the cuff. Then I go down to 64 for the leg. I have 66 for the heel, and I'm going to talk more about the heel in a second. I have 64 for the foot, and then I have a really short toe, grafted toe. The heel was the biggest problem. Of course, all this going up and down stitch count was a problem, but the biggest problem was finding a heel that actually fit him. But thanks to one of the Danish knitters, designers, podcasters, Charlotte Co, I found the sweet tomato heel. And I am again gonna link to a video tutorial for the sweet tomato heel, because this is a perfect heel for someone who, I don't know what you call it in English, but if this line is really long on your foot, then the sweet tomato heel is perfect, because what it is actually 3 sections of German short rows, or another form of short rows, that where you use more than half of the stitches. You use 2/3 of the stitches on your needle, so you create a lot of fabric here that actually is, I mean, for my heel it would be absolutely horrible, but for Peter's heel it is perfect, and it's fun and easy to knit. And now I know that I have the perfect sock pattern for him, so now I can start making socks for him. Maybe. Only now the fun part is over, so it'll happen. He'll get socks. Of course he'll get socks. I have one more finished object, but I'm gonna save that for this segment that comes later, the Knitting for Lucas segment. I'm gonna show you my whips there. First of all, there's only 2 of them, which is highly unusual for me. And also they're really old whips, like ancient history whips. But I don't know, yeah. Right now, I just want to finish stuff, get things off my needles. Maybe it's because we're moving next week and I just want to clear the tables before. I don't know. There's no particular reason for it, but I am enjoying picking up those old whips again. The first one is really old, like pre-pandemic old. I cast it on the first time when I went to Texas to visit my family there. That was in the very beginning of 2020. I came back to Denmark 2 days before everything closed down. So yeah, we're pre-pandemic. I remember sitting in Texas and talking about, it seems to be quite bad in Italy, this stuff. I wonder if this will affect our vacation down there. Yeah. Anyway, what I cast on was the bright sweater from Junko Okamoto. And I have shown this on the podcast before, and I have told you how much I love this sweater and how much I adore the pattern and how fun it is to knit. And then I just haven't knit on it. Go figure. But then the other day I was watching the Caddy Jack's podcast, and I saw that Jackie started knitting a bright sweater. Of course, she already finished hers. I don't know. She's like a superwoman knitter. But anyway, that inspired me to pick up my bright sweater again and finish the thing already. I mean, I'm past the yoke. I'm past the the complicated stuff. It's not an easy knit, but it's a very, very enjoyable knit. And the finished sweater is gorgeous. It's like so perfect. It's like any of Junko Okamoto's patterns, really, just perfect. So I've been doing some Junko in June, plucking away on this one, and I am gonna finish it. This time I'll keep knitting on it every day until I finish it, because I want to wear this. I want to wear that in Italy, like in the evening if we're going out and it's late and maybe a little bit cold. I'm gonna just chuck it on over my shorts or my skirt, dress, whatever I'm wearing, and it'll look beautiful with everything because it's an amazing sweater. I am knitting it out of my own hand-dyed yarn. This is my Merino Superwash base. It's a DK weight, and the colorway is called Reisekameraden, the travel companion. It's a colorway that I created especially for this project, and I named it the Traveling Companion because I knew that that was the knitting project that would travel with me to the US. So, and it is this warm ivory color with a lot of yellow and pink and brownish speckles to it, and it's just beautiful, perfect for this project because it really allows the pattern on the yoke to come to life. So yeah, can't wait to knit on it. I just want to pick it up and knit right now. It is an enjoyable knit, and I don't know why I have had it on a timeout for so long. Well, I do know it's because it's also a challenging knit, and it's not the kind of knit that you just pick up and knit a couple of rows and then you're on your way again. You just need a little time to get started, and where were you at in the pattern. And usually I never print my patterns, but for this one I actually did print it so that I could put little marks like, here I am, and I left here, and I need this many rows to go, like that. So it's the kind of knit that actually makes you focus and challenges you just a little bit. So I am loving it. The other whip is slightly newer, but it's not new. This is something that I cast on when I was going to Texas in the springtime. So it's only, what, 6 months old, something like that. Or was it? Maybe it was even when I was going in the fall. I don't remember. It's been sitting for a long time in my favorite, beautiful project bag from Knitwear by Maki. And it is, of course, my Birds of a Feather shawl. Yeah, the beautiful pattern from Andrea Mowry. And yeah, I'm getting there. I only have I'm on this garter section with the merino. I have one more mohair section to go, and then I have to knit the border. So I'm almost there, and just imagine how beautiful this would be for summer. It would just be the perfect summer shawl, and I don't have any summer shawls, which is of course not true, but I don't have this summer shawl, so I need to finish this. I need to blog it, and I need to wear it. I am again using my own hand-dyed yarn. This is my sock base, the colorway called Den Lille Havfrue, the Little Mermaid. And I am combining it with the Drops kit sock in the white. and it's just knitting up beautifully. And this is when I don't want to focus, when I just want to pick something up, knit a little, and then be on my way. Then this is perfect because it's just autopilot knitting. You can just go and not even worry about what your hands are doing. So these two whips are actually pretty good together. They, with those two, I actually have everything I need. So there's no reason to cast on all the things. Pia, there is no reason to cast on all the things. We all know that I'm going to cast on all the things. But anyway. Now it's time for the Knitting for Lucas segment. The segment where I show what I am knitting for my coming grandson in Texas. The reason why I decided to make it its own segment was because I thought then maybe his mom could be convinced to go away when that came up, but I know she's not gonna. So now I have just started posting stuff on Instagram, and I know, Maria, you're looking. I know you are. You can never wait for your presents, and it's okay because it's actually not for you. It is for your son. So anyway, last week I published the pattern for my Happy Shawl, the big, huge Happy Shawl in worsted weight rustic yarn. And I decided to actually use that pattern to also create a baby blanket. So yeah, it's not a huge blanket. It's 80 by 80 centimeters. It's big enough, but not a huge blanket. But I actually just used the pattern for the Happy Shawl. I used some superwash merino, Drops Merino Extra Fine. I knit on a size 4mm instead of the pattern for the Happy Shawl calls for 6.5mm. But I thought I wanted to make a denser fabric for a baby blanket. Just because it's more practical. And I wanted to use a superwash yarn because it is somewhat softer than rustic yarns, and also I wanted the parents to just be able to throw it in the washer and not worry about it. I did not knit the outer border. I knit the center of the shawl, obviously, and I knit the inner border, the feather and fern, and I did knit, I think, 3 more repeats of that than the pattern calls for, so I had to do just a little math to figure out the corners. But instead of then knitting the outer border, I just bound it off with a picot bind off, and I think that looks really pretty. And now I get all annoyed. I don't know if you can tell on camera. I blocked this, and I bought blocking pins of stainless steel, but there's rust on my baby blanket. That's not fair. Anyway, I'm gonna wash that off. But I did just do a simple picot bind off to give it just this little extra baby. I don't know, I think a picot bind off is very baby-ish. So yeah, I can't wait to wrap this around Lucas. Mostly because if I'm able to wrap it around it, it means that he's out, he's in the world, and yeah, that'll still take a little more time. I'm waiting patiently. Of course, when I finished one item for Lucas, I needed to cast on something new. And I did. In my baby knits project bag, again from Knitwear by Maggie, I love her project bags. I have a family sweater for Lucas because of course he's gonna have a family sweater just like everyone else. I knit this for John, who is Lucas's big brother. I knit it for Victor, who is the son of my youngest son and lives here with me on the farm. And I knit it for Peter. So this is number 4, my 4th version of the family sweater. And that is obviously for Lucas. Actually, there is a practical reason for this. Aside from the fact that, oh, those brothers gonna look adorable in matching sweaters. But also I had sent this pattern out in test, and there were some modifications done to the pattern after the testing. So I decided, after making all the corrections and adaptations, I decided to just check that everything worked out smoothly. So I decided to knit a sweater following the pattern like I had never seen it before. And it's working. So I will be releasing the pattern for the family sweater in children's sizes today. The children's sizes goes from this one, which is 0 to 3 months, and up to 12 years. So hopefully everyone can find a size that fits the children in their family. The pattern for adults is gonna come later. But of course it's gonna come. When you buy the pattern for the children's sizes, you will also get a discount code so that once the adult sizes comes out, you're gonna get 50% off of that pattern. I know I have talked so much about this sweater on the podcast. I'm just gonna very quickly go through it again because I can see that we have a lot of new friends in our community here, a lot of new viewers. That makes me so happy. But I just want to very quickly go through this sweater. And if you haven't seen it before, yeah, you can go back to some of the previous episodes when I was knitting the other 3. I talk about it again and again. It is a top-down raglan sweater, and it has these Estonian braids on the yoke. And Estonian braids are just like Latvian braids. They're just stitches that you knit across, you knit them horizontally. The Latvian braid is 2 color, the Estonian braid is only 1 color. It's super elastic. It's not like your material gets stiff or rough or anything with it. So I really like the interest that it brings to the yoke. The only other special thing about this is the little slip stitch pattern that you do when you change the color for the body. It is knit in worsted weight yarn. I'm using Drops Lima, which is a wool alpaca blend. So these sweaters they're durable and they're warm and they're everything a sweater for children is supposed to be. I'm knitting these not as indoor sweaters. I'm knitting them as the sweater that you put on your kid if you're going on a car ride or if they're going out in the stroller to sleep. That's what we do in Denmark. They sleep outside in their prams. So it's more of a light outerwear than an indoor sweater. But I do know that John actually also used his indoors when it was still cold in Texas. So yeah. So cute, so fast. I mean, knitting this size There is not a lot of knitting to do, and then you have a sweater. So I am really enjoying it. Even though it's my 4th time with this pattern, I am still enjoying working with it. That was it for the creative content this week. Not a lot of whips. I have really been trying to control myself to not cast on all the things, but to actually finish some of all the lovely things that I already have on my needles. That also has to do with the fact that I'm packing, because we're moving to Italy on Tuesday. Yay! So yeah, I am packing up everything. Fortunately, we're moving into a house that we have had since 2006. So it's not like this ginormous move of packing everything down and setting up a new home. The home is already there. It has been our summer home for all the years, but now we want to try to see. We've been dreaming about moving down there ever since we bought the house. So now we're going to try. We're going to do it, and I think we're going to love it. I mean, if I didn't think we were going to love it, we were probably not going to do it, right? But yeah, anyway, everything around me is chaos because I'm trying to decide what should come with me, what should stay. At some point, someone asked me if I could show you my craft room slash e-shop here, and I'm just going to turn around the camera. Hang on. Yep, there you go. That's my craft room. I am trying to decide what whips to bring, what yarn to bring. I mean, who knows when I'll be back to get more yarn, right? But I'm sure that I'm going to figure it out. And I'm sure that I'll figure out a way to find some more yarn should I run out. I am going to set up a dye studio down there. We have on the lowest floor of the house, we have this huge space that was, when we bought the house, it was a 2-car garage, but we never used it because, I mean, it was almost impossible to get the car in there without breaking everything. Yep, did that. So we always park outside. So at some point we decided to just change the garage doors, put in some glass doors instead. And we use the space when we have guests and it is too cold to be sitting outside, because in the house we only have a dining table in the kitchen, and the kitchen is teeny tiny, and we can fit 4. We can even fit 5, but not comfortably. So if we have more guests than that, we use the space downstairs. But I'm going to take some of that space and turn it into a dye studio, which makes perfect sense because the yarn that I am dyeing actually comes from a small family operated spinning mill in Italy, rather close to the house. So many of you have been so kind and asked me if it was possible to buy my yarn outside of Denmark. I still haven't had time to sit down with someone who actually knows how to set up everything with the taxes and stuff. But it is on my to-do list. It is going to happen this summer. I will let you know as soon as it happens. And then hopefully I will also have more yarn because I will have my dye studio there. It has been difficult the last couple of months to find time to dye yarn, but that's one of the things that I'm really looking forward to, and all the inspiration down there. We're just surrounded by beautiful colors down there. So yeah, I am really looking forward to that. I will be recording throughout the move and everything. I'm probably not going to have as much content the first couple of weeks. We're going to take some vacation. We're going to go to Gardaland, which is like this theme park. We're going to go there with our grandchildren. My mom is coming down to visit us. So we're going to take some vacation time, some much needed vacation time. So probably there will be less knitting time, but still, of course, I want to come and chat with you guys. I hope that you're up for that. Thank you so much for watching. I'm so happy that you want to spend this time with me. I feel very blessed to have found so many new knitting friends. I don't have knitting friends in the real world, so I really appreciate this community. I do hope you have some lovely summer knitting on your needles. I hope that it keeps you happy and satisfied, and I hope to see you again next time. Bye for now.